First thing is adoption of the agenda. It is recommended that the agenda of the December 14th, 2023 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Approval of the minutes. It is recommended that the minutes of the November 16th, 2023 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Statements or questions from the public? Okay, so yes, I'll just clarify and remind everybody, it's 3 minutes per person and a 21-minute limit. So, okay, so it looks like the first one is Jeff Fisher.
It'll be 3 minutes and 22 seconds, Kim.
Oh.
I said it'll be 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
Am I on?
That's how long I'll be.
Oh.
What's wrong,
Yeah,
Scott?
change that.
What's wrong?
Yeah, change that.
Hey, I know you're working on bonds, and we have a geo bond for one that's going off, and it sounded like it was for 2.8, something like that. Is that what you're working on?
That was already approved. We have it.
You have it, okay. Well, and then there's another one that's going to come off in a couple of years, big one. Okay. What I was going to suggest on some of this that you're going to work on, I know you've kind of got some things earmarked to do, but this is huge to me. You're having water problems with pumps. Okay. So, back when we did the sewer, we had to go, we were going to go water and it was too costly and we really weren't sure the town could provide it. So we kept on with the pumps. What we should have done is put storage out here, because what's happening is those pumps are running all the time. You have no storage. The storage is in those wells. So and when you regenerate, when the water regenerates, you're having trouble keeping up and you're burning up pumps. So I would just suggest to you, and to use the board, Dr. Grimes, look at storage. We should have done it 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and we didn't. And now, looking back, that's one thing that was, we just didn't do, and we should have. And it can be like, the one on 74, Scott, that you go, it can be like that.
Yeah.
Other thing is, the county is putting in a new highway barn on 41 where they own, bringing water to it. Person might want to go to the town board and say, hey, work something out that way. That's how we did the sewage.
Gotcha.
But just some ideas on what to use some of that money for. I know you probably got you've got a lot to do. I know you do, and but I think that's something you ought to look at. The other thing I told Josh is windows. We didn't, when we did our projects, we did not do windows, and those are windows from when they were built. Right. And some of them are single pane. So, and is Crystal on? No.
She's not tonight.
Okay. Is this her last?
Correct.
Okay. Well, all I'll say about that is, I'm glad she was on the board. Her and I talked before she got on the board, and I told her how board members, their role, how they should act, and that sunk in, and I could see that, and I think she did you guys a good job over that, and I hope you get someone just as good. But I hope you write that down in the minutes. All right. So that's all I had.
Thank you.
Okay. Kristen Allen.
I'm just coming to follow up from the last meeting. We came and talked about the students at Hillsborough Christian Academy being able to play sports at Mountain Central. So I know there wasn't really any feedback since we've had that meeting. I know I've talked to you guys about it. So just coming again to let you know we're still, would like an answer so we know what the kids can do, if they can participate. Because if not, Covington's willing to take our kids and let them play there. So, they're kind of hanging in limbo and need to know what they can and can't do. And, we hope we can work with you guys possibly in, getting a process in place if you're gonna allow it, and we can move forward, and getting some sort of system in place so we can be consistent, so we know, okay, so-and-so wants to play sports, what do we need to do? And there's a process. And I know a couple of us would be willing to pay participation fees if that's an issue. That wouldn't be a problem. So we would just like our kids to be able to participate. And I know it's been said that you follow IHSA rules, and so there's been a couple instances where things have happened. Kids were told they couldn't play, but IHSA rules were not followed. So just I want to know if we're really going to honor that system, that is clear and we understand how to move forward with that. So just we're here and to talk about that again, and we'll keep coming back until we can get an answer. So we appreciate your feedback on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next is Debbie Bell.
Yes, I'm here to follow up with the sporting events for our kids at the Hillsborough Christian Academy. And we talked about it last time. Really don't have a lot to add from what we said last time. We just would like to know an answer and how do we get an answer? I don't know how do we get an answer. I feel like truly that allowing our kids to play here at Mount Central would be an asset not only to our kids, but to the school too, in revenue and maybe abilities and just working together as a community. At some point, I guess, people are gonna, some kids feel really bad about not being able to play at the school that their parents play at, and we would like for that to be a possibility. And I don't know how to find out the answer, how do we find out an answer, whether it's going to be addressed or not, or when.
Actually, I'll be, I have a statement at the end of the meeting for us to talk about that. Okay. Next will be Jeff Wagner.
Yeah, I want to follow up as well. More so just talking to my son in general, who was at Fountain Central, and we left for issues that we felt like we weren't getting support with. And even through that and him attempting to play football, but after the first practice was told he couldn't, somehow he's still keeping a positive attitude because he wants to play sports here. And he actually wrote a note that he wanted me to read. Why sports are important to me. Sports allow me to exert my energy. They also allow me to get good exercise, and I want to have something to look forward to after school. It also helps me to work well as a team. Without sports, I get really bored sometimes, and it helps me relieve stress by dribbling a ball. Sports could also help me in the future by getting a scholarship for college. Sports are very important to me, so please allow us to wear Mustangs on our sports clothing. Thank you.
Greg McDonald.
Yes, I'm Mayor. I just want to pastor the Hillsborough Church of the Nazarene. I'm also the chairman of the board for the Hillsborough Christian Academy. We've been a great friend of Fountain Central over the years. It's not our desire to pull any of your students away. We're not recruiting actively. We don't do that. We put our signs up. We tell you that we ask, and then there are folks for one reason or another that want an opportunity to come in a Christian environment to do that. So we're not trying to stand in opposition to Fountain Central in any way. In fact, we've been a great friend of Fountain Central Hillsborough. We do the backpack program. Many of our guys have coached. I coached 3 years in the children's program. I have 2 grandsons in this school. I support Fountain Central with everything I am. I don't say words against this school. I have tried to work in mentoring programs through the senior adults and met with the folks on this floor here. We have always been a good friend. We have sponsored hundreds of activities, from the sporting programs, banquets, to practices before the gyms were all done. 2 gyms were done. We have opened up our doors in every possible way to the school, and we'll continue to do that regardless of what your decision is. Because we are a part of this community, and we want to be a part of this community. We just feel like our kids need to be represented. I know you don't get our money from the state for our kids to be educated with, but you also don't have to educate our kids. The second thing is you do get our money from our property taxes that we pay. And that is a significant number. I know you know that because you all pay property taxes too, at least some of us do. The reality is we do pay those taxes, and it comes up to a significant amount of money that comes back. 43% on average of our taxes we pay come to the school system. Understand that. We're not asking for something for nothing. We want our kids to have opportunity, and we're small. We don't have the means to be able to put teams together and to do those kinds of things on our level where we're at. Someday, I don't know whether that'll happen or not, but the reality is we would like to continue to be a good friend with Fountain Central, and we'd like for Fountain Central to be a good friend to us. We're not standing in opposition. We're not trying to hurt anybody. We're not trying to take your students away from you. It's our desire just to bring like-minded folks with us, give them an education opportunity, and then allow our kids to interact with your kids and the kids who come here in a way that is positive for everybody in this circumstance. And so that is our desires. And if you want to know, how do I know that? Because I've been here for 35 years in this community, a part of this community, and you're friends of mine. I've done funerals for your families. I've been a part of this, and I have tried to be upstanding in every possible way. And that's the way we dealt with. This is the truth. And if there is a policy that stands against us by the IHSAA, then I would like to see that policy written out well, because to our knowledge, there is not one of those. It does affect senior or freshman through senior year. We understand that, and that's not what we're asking for. All right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate that. My buzzer's going.
Yeah. Okay. Jocelyn Scott, did I say that?
I'm Jocelyn Scott. I'm a student of Pittsburgh Christian Academy, and I made a note of why I think that it would be nice for us to be able to do sports here. I think we should have sports because first off, it helps quite a bit with setting a good academic performance, because through sports, children learn tactical, mental, and physical training. They say usually 40% of student athletes have higher test scores. Second, sports also help with the developing of physical skill. The way that works is when playing sports, all of the running, jumping, kicking, hitting, catching, and much more help you learn control, body control, and movement. Another reason is this helps with teamwork, because if you aren't used to having teammates, you won't know how to work together with them or how to cooperate. Something else sports help with is your self-esteem. If you play sports, it gives you a golden opportunity to set your mind on your body and yourself in general. It helps give you chances to make yourself proud and let yourself know that you can do more than you think you can. Last but not least, health improvement. This obviously helps by getting in all the movement you need, like running and much more. It helps build muscle and burns fat, giving you energy and keeping you healthy. It also keeps you active. There are so many more benefits, such as helping shape a personality, leadership skill, and reducing stress. But these are my main reasons why Hillsborough Christian Academy would love to have sports.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on now to our administrative recommendations, claims. It is recommended that prepaid and November claims number 1 00443 to 100574 be approved as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Personnel. It is recommended that Kate Depew be hired to fulfill a long-term sub position at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School.
She's gonna give a statement at the end. Said she-
All in favor? It is recommended that Tyler Owen be hired to fulfill a long-term sub position at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the contract and salary for Jason Thompson as the bus mechanic be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that Andrea Ballmer be hired to work in our Mini Mustangs Learning Academy.
So our daycare, just staff are really taking advantage of it, and we need to hire a third person. It is all self-supporting, so none of the money for the childcare comes out of our operating funds or education dollars. It's all the money we collect from our staff to have the kids there, but we have more kids and we can afford to pay a third person, and that helps us if there is someone out sick or something, then we still have coverage in there. But on a daily basis, there have been days that we've had to turn our teachers down that want to use the drop-ins because we have too many kids for the number of staff. So it's a good problem to have. So we're excited that it has been so well received this year.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Gasoline and fuel products. Motion was made that the fuel bids be opened and tabled until the January board meeting.
So you have them in front of you.
One is from Cirrus Solutions. Do I report those numbers tonight?
You'll have to have a chance to look at them once, you're at the table, it so you can look over and decide which bid to accept for, if you want to put it either in, put it back out.
Okay.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Intra-fund transfer. A motion was made that the treasurer be granted permission to make year-end intra-fund transfers in order to balance the funds.
So what that means, for example, in our operations, when we approved the 23 budget, we approved so much in operations for different things. But we might have spent a little bit more in maintenance than what we had anticipated, but we spent less in something else. So we're not bringing more money, we're not getting money out of our rainy day or anything, it's just moving those around so nothing is, it balances out. It doesn't look like we're in the red anywhere because we're not in the red. It's just, we have to put them in the right lines with your permission.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? School board attorney. A motion was made that Stuart Welliver with Henthorne, Harris, Welliver, and Petrie be retained as the school corporation attorney on an as-needed basis.
Mr. Welliver has been the attorney for the district for a number of years. And he is interested in continuing in that role, and he certainly has been very responsive anytime we've had to reach out to him.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Kingman Mill Creek Public Library Board. It is recommended that Kendall Bucher be appointed to the Kingman Mill Creek Public Library Board for a 4-year term.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Other business. A motion was made that payment of stipends as determined by the teacher appreciation grant for all eligible staff be awarded by payroll distribution.
The teacher appreciation grant is a grant that's specifically from the state of Indiana for all effective and highly effective teachers in the state based on last spring's evaluation, and they had to work at least 120 school days and meet this. We have a tag policy that you approve and review every year. And this year, we had 69 teachers that qualified for a teacher appreciation grant.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the payment of appreciation stipends for all eligible staff be awarded by payroll distribution.
We have been able to provide stipends in the past, the same appreciation from funds that we use for staff retention, and I'd like permission to do that again. And our first payroll engineer.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the 2024-2025 school calendar be approved as presented.
The calendar is very similar to this school year calendar. I will say, I work really hard to try to make each of the 4 quarters 45 days. And some years that works out well, and some years not so much, because of the way holidays fall and so forth. This year we will have 92 days in the first half of the year and 88 days in the second half to get our 180 days for the school year. If I wanted to get 90 in that would have brought us back after Memorial Day to get 2 days in. And we, unless weather requires that we have to do that, we try to finish up in graduation right before the holiday.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the invoice from Ice Miller in the amount of $33,700 be approved for their services as bond counsel for the general obligation bond.
Even though the bond is approved and they've done their services, I just want you to know they are still, any questions we have moving forward with the process, that's all part of this. We don't pay extra every time Cindy Allward or I would have to contact them about something.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the invoice from Raymond James in the amount of $14,500 be approved for their services as a placement agent for the general obligation bond.
And that would be Damien, who came and spoke to the board and explained everything when we were going through this process. So that's the invoice from his company.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the $3,750 donation from Old National Bank Corp. Be accepted for the building trades program.
In the past year, we've had some banks that purchased the land and donated. This year, as you know, the land was donated by the Sterling Christian Church, but some of the banks still donated towards the building project then, and this was one more that has come in for that purpose.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that policy number 356, library materials management policy, be adopted as presented.
This is the policy that I shared with you last month. One thing that I want to note, a change from the initial under fee for hard copies, number 2, there will be a $10 fee for charge for any request of a hard copy book. And that's because if the book never comes back to us, we have to, if it's still gonna remain in our collection, we have to purchase it. So that was added in, but otherwise, the policy meets the new state regulations for Public Law 234 and Indiana House Bill 1447, Indiana Code 20-26-5.5. And it's required that all schools have a policy in place by January 1st.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the free throw fundraiser be approved for the girls' basketball team at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School.
The fundraising goal of the girls' basketball is $1,500 to $2,000. Players will get sponsors for their 100 free throws, and sponsorships of different amounts can be made. The purpose of the funds are for girls' basketball uniforms and equipment.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the invoice from MCOR Services in the amount of $10,714.30 be approved for maintenance of the boiler system.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? The elementary report.
We just have several thank you this evening. We want to thank Katie Clark, Jill Sillery for a wonderful Christmas program last week, and for Mary Gregory. She put on an art show that featured all the children who were in the program, had art featured before and after the show. So I know a lot of hard work went in on their part as well. So thank you to them. We want to thank Nancy Wright. She's been subbing in our pool area and will continue to do so through spring break. And we just want to lift up Kayla. And she hopes to make her return here soon, even if just periodically. And then I know we thanked her last month, but just one more thank you to Diana Reberger. Wednesday will be her last day before retirement. And she's just such a fixture for us, so we'll miss her dearly. It's been a great semester. We're going to cap off that with Student Appreciation Day next Tuesday, the 19th, with our glow party. Just want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas.
On to the high school report.
Yeah, I just have a couple of thank yous as well. One to Rachel Foxworthy. So her and I have been collaborating a lot this semester. We're actually starting already to put student schedules together for next year. We normally do that mid-spring-ish. So kudos to her. We're way ahead of schedule for next year. I know it's crazy to think about, but we have to start putting those things in place as soon as we can. So thank you to Mrs. Foxworthy. Once again, with the Christmas concert, thank you to Ashley Brown and Stephanie Perkins. There was actually a great community turnout. So we moved from the gym to the cafeteria for like acoustic purposes. Mrs. Brown wanted to do so. We estimated there would probably be about 200, 250. There was probably closer to 350. So standing room only. Really great turnout. So it was a good problem to have that we ran out of seating, but I'm proud of our students and our choir and band directors for that. And like Kelly said, we're excited for finals week, and thanks to everyone for a great first semester.
On to our student report, Bryson.
The Spanish club today had a dedication to 2 benches that were made of recycled plastic pop caps. I think they said it was like 3,500 pop caps. The estimate's probably way off, but there's a lot. It was in honor of Zach Carter, who is an FC graduate and walked his life to suicide last summer. His benches were blessed and dedicated today. And they're in the hallway between the 2 gyms with a little plaque honoring Zach Carter and the suicide prevention hotline. Thank you to Sandy Cashmer, the students of the Spanish Club, and Dave Sims for their hard work in making this happen. For the past couple of weeks, FFA and Spanish Club have sponsored a food drive. All proceeds will stay within the community. We've collected approximately 1,250 items to date. And thanks to all the students who have donated thus far. The winter sports teams are in full swing right now. This weekend, our student athletes will be busy. On Saturday, there's swim by county. The wrestling team is going to North Vermilion for their invitational. Our FFA team will compete in the district welding contest. We also want to wish continued success to our boys and girls basketball teams. They're both in action this weekend. And next week, they'll play in the holiday tournament. And thanks to everyone for a great first semester. We're looking forward to a Christmas break and a great spring semester to follow. And for the joke today, do you know what the best Christmas present is? It's a broken drum. You just can't beat it.
Bryson.
She just wants to stay.
Yes.
Just write your joke down. Just steal it.
our spotlight tonight, we will have, our Airmark represented by Elizabeth Saganhorn and Natalie Turner.
So Elizabeth, I go by Beth, some people call me Liz, like I respond to all of it, so I'm used to that. And people butcher my last name all the time, it's totally fine, whatever you call me. I just wanted to do a quick snapshot of just the beginning of the school year and up until now. All right, so quick agenda, message from the president, meal participation, client return projections, continue our collaboration, like things that we've done and what to look forward to. And then I got some photos for everybody, because who doesn't love a good photo? Message from the president. Some of the things that we focused on this year is like LTOs, so our limited time offering. And thankfully, we've got an awesome team at the high school who just wants to try new things all the time. They're all for it. They're bringing me ideas, and we've got a great group of kids there that wants to try everything. Like there's one group of kids, there's like 8 of them that come through the line, and they always get the new thing that we make. So it's really exciting to innovate and try some things. And we implemented the pick 2 at elementary, and that's a little bit different. So we've got a hot entree and a cold entree. We're just trying to offer more options, so kids always have an option. And so there's always a yogurt, there's always a string cheese available. And I think we've worked out most of the kinks now, but overall, like, meals are up, and, you know, we just want to offer as much as we can and get everybody to eat. These are some of our meal participations from last year. So I did notice that your enrollment increased by 8%. That's awesome for you guys. Good job. These are numbers based on November last year and this year that I got from CMP Web. But our breakfast is up 62. A lot of that has been an increase from the high school. Like, we tried something in August. We completely changed the breakfast menu in September, and the kids are eating it, and they love it. And we're doing a little over 200 at breakfast now. It's crazy. So that's amazing. They started out at the beginning of the year at like 35, and then they got up to 62, and now they're topping at 200. It's amazing. So a lot of kudos to them on expanding that program. And this is just a quick snapshot of where we are. So client return year to date, we're looking at 51,000 in revenue for you all. Does anybody have any questions about this? Anyone? Meals are up, it's looking good, client return is good, we've only got nice things to say, so it's good and positive. Some of the things I already touched on, we do have 2, I don't know if you're aware, we've got 2 different kitchen managers now, 1 for each kitchen, so that's been different with me beginning here in August. I just wanted to make sure I had a leadership person to go to. And I think that's been a great benefit in both kitchens, just to have a point person that's, you know, not necessarily me. I stop in once or twice a week, but majority of the time I'm here like once a week. If something happens, I can pop up in an hour. It's not, you know, so that's been really easy. The staff's wonderful. I talk to both of them every day. So even if I'm not present on a day, they know they can always get in touch with me. So I try to be more visible for them, and they really appreciated that. We did a wage increase for them in August, which I think helped us be fully staffed this year. Yeah, we're trying LTOs. That was a big thing that the president wanted to push and try new, you know, we're done with COVID. Let's try new things. Let's put a beef tostada on the menu, and let's do a gyro, and that's going to be fun. We did what was the hot honey chicken biscuit tostada was this month? Yeah. So we had a wellness committee meeting in October, and that was really successful. We got a lot of good feedback from some of the elementary faculty that are on the committee. And what's to come? The ACE show. Actually, Natalie has flyers for me. Yeah, you can pass them out. The ACE show, it's just implementing some food education at the elementary school. So I want to make sure you get that too, obviously. I went ahead and bought the packets. My idea for this is like, it's the winter months, it's cold, the kids aren't going to be going outside as much. It's an 8-minute video that kids can watch about hydration or eating your fruits and vegetables. And it comes with like a working packet. And they get a certificate after they watch the video. So it's like fun and interactive. It offers some food education. I think it'll be a nice option for teachers to use on a cold day inside. Now we've got some fun pictures of some of the food that we've served. We just did cookies and cocoa. That chicken penne Alfredo, that was at elementary. That dessert was at elementary. And then the top pictures were all at high school. This was one of our LTOs we did. That was the beef gyro with tzatziki sauce that they made from scratch. So that's pretty cool. Gotta love the tomato soup and grilled cheese. Everybody's excited about the warm winter soups. And then we did beef enchiladas, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that was a hit. So yeah, just some fun stuff. Thanks.
Thank you.
I have a question. You're not gonna give them the history I told you about?
Did you want me to?
No. I gave her a full history of how they got started here.
Jeff, I thought that was just for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Okay, we'll move on to discussion items.
I don't have anything new for discussion tonight, but I do have lots of statements from the superintendent. Some people that I would like to acknowledge. First of all, I want to thank the Library Book Review Committee for their work in creating our new policy. And those on the committee included Lucas Steele, Casey Hoagland, Renee Howell, Susie Baldwin, Sarah Martin, Lucy Johnson, Susie Bolzer, Des Peterson, Kate Holliker, Carrie Bowers, Lindsay Wildman, Sue Frazee, Marilyn Bailey, Tiffany Hoagie, Caleb Blanton, Lindsay Good, and Kelly Morgan. We want to judge, we didn't put your name on the list. So thank you to all of them for their work in developing this policy. Next, I like to share with you when we get compliments from officials or families or staff members, and so I have some of those. The first one came from Zachary Barnes, and he's an official, and he said, I want to say that I really appreciate the environment at Fountain Central last night. Between your coach, your fans, you, your bench, and your players, everyone was excellent to work with, and it felt very welcoming, even for officials, which is rare. The announcement supporting the officials was a great start, and the overall experience was a class act in all aspects. I know it's a pretty good drive for Rob, Pat, and I, but we talked on the way home, and based on the hospitality and how well we were treated, we would love to come back and work with you each year. Thanks again, and have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend. Again, it's hard to get officials, as you know, throughout the state, and so when our officials feel that positive, that's what we want when they come to Fountain Central. Next, I have a recognition for a teacher, Susie Baldwin, and this came from a staff member and parent. Says, this is a little selfish as my son is involved, but I wanted to say how appreciative I am of Susie Baldwin. Her enthusiasm for the Fountain Central kids as she produces the play is so evident. She's passionate about kids and does so many extra things for FC. I was not sure what to think when my son said he wanted to be in the play, but he has an absolute blast and has loved working with Susie. I'm thankful that Preston got the opportunity to work with her. We're lucky to have her. And that came from Jason Good, our athletic director, who's also a dad of a kiddo that was in the play. The next one, recognition of coaches from a parent. This came from Tim Cricket. He said, I wanted to reach out to you and brag about 2 of our Fountain Central employees. As you may or may not know, I'm not going to read the students' names, but 3 of our students were involved in an accident in Crawfordsville last night on the way to watch a game between Southmont and Attica. First, one point out the girls are perfectly fine and nobody was hurt, other than maybe one child's pride. Coaches Carr, Frazee, and Borman were already at the game and waiting on the girls. Once the accident happened, they did all the proper steps. One of the girls called Mrs. Frazee, Mary Frazee, and Dakota because they were scared. Without missing a beat, both of our coaches headed for Crawfordsville and stayed with the girls until all of the parents got there. To these girls, those two coaches are more than just coaches to them. I feel like they consider them friends, and I believe both of the coaches truly care about each one of their players and students and their well-being. To you, this may not seem like a big deal, but to these three girls' parents, it is. So the purpose of this email is to let our administration know that we absolutely got those coaches correct. I do not want to leave Coach Sammy Carr out, as he called late last night to check on the girls, not to see if they could play their next game, not to see if they could practice the next day, but to make sure they were okay. I wanted to make sure with all the bad news in this world that you, our superintendent, know that these two young coaches went above and beyond last night while waiting on three scared parents to get there. They did this with no obligations and no expectations. They did this out of the kindness of their heart and care for these girls. So to them, even though I've already told them several times, thank you. So again, kudos to our staff. The next is a recognition from an official. This came from, I can't find his name right now, sorry. But anyway, he said, congratulations to Coach Carr and the girls basketball team and a hard-fought win at Seeger Tuesday. They were officially recognized by official Steve Hoffman, who said, the girls basketball game between Seeger and Fountain Central was just as they should be. A good crowd, a close game, and both coaches focused on coaching their teams rather than questioning our calls. It was appreciated and enjoyable. So congratulations to team, coaches, managers, scorekeeper, and fans for representing Fountain Central with class. And great job earning a tough road win at Seeger. The next one is another official comment. I love giving these to us. This is from IHSAA. Thank you to the great table workers we have, to our ticket takers and our game workers, and to Phil Shady for doing an excellent job recognizing officials prior to the games. He said, I just want to pass along this feedback. Felt very appreciated by Fountain Central based on the announcements and administration taking care of us the whole night. This recognition is of a staff member that came from a colleague who happens to be her administrator. It's in regards to Emily Watson, one of our guidance counselors. Emily was taking care of our students around the holidays. She does a lot of great things for our students, and so that's why she's being acknowledged. Mr. Davenport reached out to her and thanked her, and she responded, to begin this process, I emailed staff here at Fountain Central to ask for any suggestions of students who might need assistance this year. Instead of teachers nominating families for assistance, I had many teachers reach out and ask to take on students and even whole families to provide holiday gifts this season. That is in addition to Spanish Club, FFA, and NHS taking on multiple students. I worked with others in the office to identify families who could use assistance. I then called the parents and got a list of what the students would want or need. I just divided the students between staff members and organizations who offered to help. We have been able to provide assistance for 5 families, 15 people this year. Usually we provide gifts for the children, but one of our families is having significant challenges right now. One of the parents is undergoing treatment for cancer, and the other parent is trying to balance work, caring for the children, and caring for the mother. So one family is mom, dad, and children. Additionally, I have a local church reach out. I'm going to try today to find an additional family for them to provide assistance for. Upperclassmen have been working to wrap the presents during study hall and home run. And Cheryl, Tammy, and I will deliver the presents to the families the week of the 18th. So again, kudos to not only Emily Watson, but all of those who have stepped up to support our families in need, especially at this time. I was going to share with you some recognition for staff that I read in Mrs. Morgan's newsletter, but she already recognized all of them. So just kudos to all of the people that Kelly already recognized on the program. I want to recognize all of our staff that have been involved in just the last few weeks. Academic Awards Night at Mountain Central, the holiday programs at both Mountain Central and Southeast Mountain Elementary. All of the events were well attended and greatly appreciated, not only by me, but many in our school community. There were a lot of different things happening this year when we did the academic awards and how we awarded things. And as Mr. Davenport mentioned, the change in the location of the program, it all worked out beautifully. And I was happy to stand for that program because it was just amazing. And of course, the elementary program is, again, always a joy to watch because those kids couldn't be more animated. Sometimes some of them up there, it's lots of fun. I want to give a thank you to all of the school board for your dedication to Southeast Mountain and the support of our programs and initiatives throughout 2023. And a special thank you to our board president, Kim Sowers, who willingly came to my office whenever she was needed, and for doing a wonderful job of leading our board meetings throughout 2023. She was a little nervous about it back in January. And this year has come. She's been great. And then I want to give a reminder, board meetings will be held in the elementary PLC room beginning in January. Guests should enter through the door near the gym and will be directed down the hall to the new location. And finally, I hope all of our students, staff, and families have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I look forward to the great work we will do together in 2024.
Thank you. That was a lot of awesome information. Okay, our statements or concerns from the board. So we just want you to be aware that we are in continued discussions about the Christian Academy and the sports. We are also at this time in the process of getting a new board member in place. And so we feel like at this time, we want that person also to be definitely included in this decision-making process with us. So we don't feel like that this is something that we're going to be able to have resolved before spring right now.
So you're not gonna have a new board member until spring, is that what you're saying, or?
We're going to have a new board member in January, and then we'll continue discussions, including that new board member. They haven't been here yet, so we have to include, them when they do get here. So. All right. Okay, document signing, we've already done. Any others?
Yeah, I want to thank, I know Crystal's not here, but Crystal has served with us. Kim and I and Crystal came on at the same time. Last 5 years, it's been good working with her, and she's done a really great job. I want to thank her for her time and service to the board. Big thanks to the students and the staff and the administrators and the coaches. It's great when we get the recognitions that are good recognitions, right? That shows a lot of pride and sportsmanship at our school, which is what we want. So I think that's moving in the right direction, right? We're not getting officials saying they don't want to work here. We're getting them to say they do want to work here. That's a change over the last several years. So that's a great change. I'm glad we're going that direction. And I know Mr. Shavy's not here, but he does such a good job with those girls basketball games. I'm telling you what, he missed his calling. He should have been an announcer somewhere. He
He didn't miss his calling. Happy that he does.
He can still be vice principal dead announcer. He does a really good job, and you can tell he likes to, right? He enjoys it. And I've heard really good things about the plays and the Christmas programs. It sounds like, we get nervous whenever we lose those folks that are running those programs and we bring new people in, but it seems like we get the right people and they take right up and go and make it better. So I want to thank everybody for that. And I'll say this, as far as our our coaches go, you know, a lot of our coaches are not teachers, they're not staff, but they're coming off the street, full-time jobs and coaching. I think it's, we have the right people, teaching our kids and coaching our kids. That makes a big difference. It makes it easy, and it makes it the reason that we're getting these awards and recognitions. Just want to thank everybody for that, and everybody have a very Merry Christmas.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll have our adjournment.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?